Hey guys, how's everybody doing? Hope everybody's having a great day. You guys already know it's Granna, so that means it's kitchen talk time. Wow. I know it's been a week or two before I been on here, spend a little time with you guys. It was just so much going on. I'm telling you, it's just been a lot of different stuff going on, on top of school going back and all this different kind of stuff, starting back to bowl 2 days a week. And on top of all that, I had to handle some situations with my brother. He had an accident on his job, so I had to end up taking him, to and from the doctor and trying to get that whole situation taken care of with him and everything. It's just been crazy. It has absolutely been crazy, and I'm like, wow, I've gone through 2 weeks, like just went through so fast, and I'm like, man, this is it. This is the last week of August. We're getting ready to step up into September. Crazy, really crazy how these months are flying by. It's really crazy. But I just tell you guys, go into a little bit of what was going on, like I said, with my brother and everything. He had an accident on his job, and where he smashed his finger. I mean, smashed it. It's broke, smashed, all that. So, they tried to, stitch it up and save his finger and all that. And, after stitching it and leaving the emergency room, he had to keep on his bandages. They said, up to till they got ready to take the stitches out. So he goes back to get his stitches out. His finger, like the majority of his finger, like this whole part here, is just dead. And so, at that point, his doctor was telling him, okay, we're gonna have to amputate your finger. And, of course, he's nervous. Nobody want to hear anything about any part of their body being amputated. You don't want to hear that. So, she gave him some antibiotics. And since this was a workman's comp thing, she couldn't just go ahead and schedule it. She had to wait till his job approved for him to, to get the surgery. And prior to that, after he left the emergency room, the doctor there recommended this doctor, and of course HR had to approve that, workman's comp rather. And it was crazy because his job, of course, he was at work, he gets hurt, the HR person takes him to the hospital and just drops him off. Just leave him there. And I'm like, that's crazy. He calls me like, hey, I'm at the emergency room. I'm like, what happened? What's going on? Because I'm thinking, he's been in a car accident or something. Maybe he was on his lunch because it was around his lunchtime. And he was like, no, I had an accident at work. HR brought me and dropped me off. They gone. I'm like, are they coming back? And he was like, no, she didn't say nothing about coming back. She told me I can call someone to come get me or what have you. So cool, I go to the hospital. I stay there with him the whole time, all this and that. And of course, we did not get down to about 7:30 at night. And this took place about between 3:30 and 4. So, we're there and everything. So, of course, he went back by and gave the paperwork to them. No one was in HR and this and that or what have you and stuff. So now you got to wait for them to approve this doctor that the emergency room doctor said you need to go to. And that doctor had already told him that he don't know if he can, if the finger can be saved and stuff. So by the time they, get that approved, it was right at the 2 weeks mark, because he was saying the stitches should come out in about 12 days. And they finally approved that. So you go get the stitches out. The doctor's like, oh my God, your finger, it was completely black dead, and she's punching it. There's, no blood flow, excuse me, or anything like that. You can't see any blood flow, or your finger's not turning pink or anything. So they tell him that we're gonna have to probably amputate his finger, Of course, he's nervous, nobody wants to hear that. So, but she was like, well, we can't schedule it till we get it, get it approved through your job, your workman's comp, and all that. So, going back and forth with that, trying to get that process, and they finally, like a week later, she was saying it needed to be done like immediately, and it took that another week before they finally approved it. For him to get it done. But, in between that time, she had gave him some antibiotics. I mean, all kind of medication to try to get that infection out and hopefully try to save some of his finger. That part worked. So he only had to end up, he still had to get an amputation, but it was only like this first little knuckle on your finger here, this first little knuckle up here. So basically like the tip of his finger had to be amputated. And when we went in, for the surgery, she took the bandages off and she was like, oh my God, it looks like 100% better than it did, a week ago. And, she did the little test. She was like, blood is blood, floating and stuff. So she was like, well, okay, we can save most of this finger. We won't have to amputate the whole finger. So, it's good. We still got to take this part off. It did not survive. Got to take that off. So it was cool, he went through it and everything. And then, when I left to take him home, I called his job because they already had sent all this paperwork over there saying that he was going to be, out for surgery on this day. And there was no way he was going to be able to work the next day for sure, which was a Friday. So, of course, he's off on the weekend. So he would have been off that Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday for sure. Okay. So I called her and I'm like, hey, this is what's happening. I just got him home. I'm about to, get him to bed and get his prescription and, da-da-da-da-da. They did not give us any physically paperwork. They said, they would be faxing that over to you all, and all that. Oh, thank you for calling. We hope Mr. Watkins feel better, blah, 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 blah. So he said he called. I didn't call them Friday, but he did follow up with them Friday to get the paper, to make sure the paperwork was faxed over and all that. And HR like, we'll take care of it. We'll take care of it. Do y'all not know that they still did not put him in for those 2 days, that Thursday and Friday, which would have been 16 hours he would have been working, workman's comp time to pay him. They did not pay him for those 2 days. They still had a day the week before where he went to get those surgeries out, the stitches out, and they put that down as a no-call, no-show. So they supposed to be fixing that and paying him for that. So I'm like, this is just crazy. And I've done worked in HR. I know how HR work. I know how workman's comp work. I know they trying to pay the least amount of money as possible. But even with that, when I worked in HR, I would continually follow up with the associates to make sure when they got doctor's appointments and follow up, appointments, that they was getting paid for that time. I would always write myself a note. I kept a calendar with all that kind of, workman's comp claims that was going on, any type of accidents that was going on, even with the customers' accidents or whatever, so that I could follow up with these people and make sure they're getting what they need to get and what's owed to them. So I don't know how other companies work, but we're still, as of right now, trying to get his pay straightened out and get it paid. But I was thinking about all that, and I'm like, you know what? I see why people be wanting to sue these different employers and when they get hurt on the job, because they're definitely, even when you get hurt on the job, first thing they holler out their mouth, let's take a drug test, which is no problem. He did his drug test, nothing came back negative, no issues with that and stuff. It was just an accident, freak accident. Okay. If we're following your rules and your procedure, and we're doing, the employee is doing exactly what you say do. They're following up with these appointments. They got to wait for you to approve these appointments and follow-ups and all this kind of stuff. And then they're having to be out for a surgery or any other reason, if they're just in pain and whatever it is. And then they got to worry about getting paid. They got to worry about it. After even talking to HR, they got to worry about their time being put in. They have bills. Some people cannot afford to go without 16 hours of their pay. They cannot go with a short check. You know, they're used to getting 40 hours plus or whatever. And my brother is used to working overtime pretty much every week, 10 hours, you know, or so. So he's used to this amount being on his check. And now you know, you pulling it up and you're looking at your time on your phone, because that's a convenient, you know, you try to catch all that. And then you're calling and asking them, you know, hey, I'm looking at my time. This is showing this and this is showing that. It's not showing that I have my hours in here for my workman's comp, for my appointment, for my surgery. You know, oh, I'm going to take care of it. Oh, I'm going to take care of it. But I understand, you know, companies are busy. Even people in HR, they have more than one associate to deal with. They have a lot of stuff going on. But when you're in HR, you're there for your employees. You're supposed to be there for your employees. And I know you're there to save the company money and doing all this kind of stuff, but you also should have a little bit of sensitivity in you when it comes to taking care of your employees and making sure they're good, especially when they're hurt on the job, you know, at the place of work. You should make sure that their time is getting put in, and all this kind of stuff. And especially if that person doesn't have any type of attendance issues. My brother had no attendance points on his record for over a year, and now you're gonna put this point on him for him being out to get his stitches taken out, and you said it's a no call, no show. When you have all this paperwork and you have everything that you need showing where he is scheduled to be that day and what is going on with him, okay? So it's just crazy, but I understand why people sue. I understand, because it gets so frustrating and it's so much, and you trying to, you know, on top of healing and just the pain that you have to go to depending on your injury, and trying to work without, you know, continue to come to work, because they definitely gonna, you know, not give you out as much time. And you're supposed to have all these restrictions. When we left that hospital from him getting that finger, the part of that finger amputated, she did say, and on the paperwork that we did have, it said that he's not supposed to lift anything over 5 pounds. And it also said after that, which was kind of contradicting each other, that there should be no use of that hand, okay? His job, there is nothing on his job that even, you know, can fit those restrictions and stuff, because my brother drives a crane and a forklift, and he's lifting these big old cores of cores and stuff. So there's nothing in there that he could that falls into those restrictions. But you know, they tell him, oh, well, you know, you could just come in, you can train. We have a new guy anyway, and you can train him. But even with that training him, he has to get on that equipment and still do what he needs to do to train this person properly. It's crazy. It's crazy. But then I like I said, I see why people sue people, and then the companies be looking at you and want to retaliate against you when your lawyer is calling them and saying, hey, we have this case we've taken over. We're going to be handling this for this person or that person. We need this and we need that. And then y'all want to retaliate against the employee for going to that level because they didn't feel like the company cared about them and was doing anything for them. It's just crazy. It's crazy. I mean, I didn't tell my brother to sue or do anything like that. I don't even know if he's going to do that. But I was just me helping him to get through that process. I was frustrated. And we're still going through it. We're still going through it. He still got to go back. He still, you know, yeah. So I was getting frustrated. And I don't even work there. You know, and especially when I'm trying to call, I'm taking out my time, trying to follow up with your HR and trying to do this to make sure everything is good. It's crazy, but I understand. I completely understand 100% why people sue, because they don't be wanting that extra headache. They don't be wanting to fool with all that extra stuff that comes with trying to take care of something that should be done anyway. Okay? I just had to get that off my mind, guys. I want to throw that little bit out there and everything. But I hope you guys have a great rest of your week. Get ready for your next summer holiday coming up. We'll talk about that next time, okay? Y'all have a great day. Granna's going to check you out next time around.